Hi everyone! I am so excited to be with you today. This is my first video ever, and I'm sharing the first mini album I've ever created. So I know it's not perfect by any means, but I learned a lot and I love it. So thank you all for sharing in this with me today. So in creating this album, I knew that I wanted tons of scrapbooking space for all of the high school memories that my friend's daughter Morgan has to put in this album. I first decided on a gatefold design, and so I know I needed 12 pages, and then decided on an 8x8 album. So that led to the covers of 8.5 by 3.25 spines. I like the covers a little bit larger to cover tabs, ribbons, etc. Anything that might stick out a little beyond the page. And you can see there on that spine, I used a Spellbinders embossing folder. Morgan was in band, marching band, and one of the top concert bands, and so I used that Spellbinders embossing folder and put Perfect Pearls over it, over the black cardstock, to give it just a little bit of dimension. And there I'm measuring for you to show you that each of the spines is 8.5 by 3.25. And that's what gave me 6 pages on each side of the album. So it's got an M for Mason High School, and it was perfect because her name was also Morgan. And I have magnets there on that little tab also. So on the inside, I actually had to trim that little green part down. It was a little bit large. And these are the things that you learn in your first couple of albums. And so I trimmed that right side down of the inside cover. I use a lot of swing tabs. Of course, you know, all this was new for me. I used My Favorite Things tag die. I used the very smallest one with the brad to create that. I think they're called swing tabs. And forgive me here if I use any of the wrong terms. I am totally new to this. It was just a way to kind of satisfy the need for something special I wanted to do for my friend's daughter. And I've just been so obsessed with paper lately. I needed an outlet to really play with lots of papers. So you can see I used more of the My Favorite Things tag dies to create lots of tags in this album. You saw in the beginning I used die cuts with a view, 3 different papers, and then lots of open stock paper. And also for these pages, I have paper photo mats that pull out of every page. Lots of photo mats in the pockets, and I think that's called a photo booklet. One thing that I learned in creating this album is that you have to be very careful, especially in an album where pages will be kind of alternated on top of each other, that you have to be careful about what's going to grab onto other pages. In opening the album, you have to kind of play with it a little bit because I have some swing tabs later in the book that catch on a waterfall of I think it's called a waterfall of photo pages. And so one of the things I learned in this book is to be very conscientious of how pages will lay together and fit together. I would create a gatefold album again. It was very large and hopefully will satisfy exactly what I hoped it would, in that she'll have lots and lots of room for creating memories. Something else that I learned in creating this album especially if I decide in the future to sell albums, is to pay attention to the cost. This album became more expensive just because I used some of what I had and some of what was easy to get on Amazon. And for instance, I used heavyweight Basil cardstock, which we all know everybody loves Basil. It's fabulous. And I believe the cardstock, the black cardstock I used to create the pages was, I think, 110, and it got kind of expensive. These were 8.5 by 11 pages, and I think I used a little over 50, 2 packs of 25, and they were $10 a pack. And that's in addition to all of the other specialty papers that I bought. And right here you'll see this is where it catches. The left side, the waterfall catches on the swing tabs on the right. And so that's kind of what I'm pointing out to you there. I like it, and I even tried to fix the problem later in the album by adding magnets to a spread that I did later for the waterfall, and it's just so heavy and the paper's so thick that even then I think I added a couple of different magnet spots where I added magnets, and it's still they still kind of flapped open. I do like the swing tabs there on the left and the right. I think that's cute. I had seen that in another video. I've been watching tons and tons of videos before I created this, knowing that I wanted to make this special gift for Morgan for graduation. So back to the cost, I think you can kind of follow along while I talk. But I definitely learned if I want to sell albums, maybe on Etsy or someplace like that, that paying attention to your cost is important. I did find another cardstock. We'll see how it goes in the next album. That was much, much cheaper, a little bit more than half the cost. And it says it's 110-pound weight. So we'll see how it goes. I'll let you know on that one. But also I bought a lot of the specialty papers when they were 12 for $2 at Joann's. And so that helped with cost. So, and right here I'm showing you, there were little tags or journaling tags in the paper that I cut apart, and I put just a teeny tiny spot of glue tape on them so that she can put those anywhere she'd like to journal or for interest, and just kind of stuck them in cute little corners that she can move later, not really to stay permanently. Another thing that I found back to cost is the tape for the ATG gun is very expensive. It was about $10 a roll, and I went through a roll pretty quickly. And so I found on eBay, I found two great deals on eBay. I found 12 rolls of ATG tape, 1/4 inch. I like the 1/4 inch. And it came out to about $4 a roll. So it was much cheaper than what I had found previously. And also I found very strong 8 by 1 millimeter magnets on eBay for only $5.50 for 50 of them. And I definitely like the 8 millimeter by 1 millimeter magnets because they're so much thinner and they don't make the paper pop up the way that other magnets would. I had previously gotten some and they really were thick and didn't look nearly as nice. Something else that I learned in this video is, and you don't see it in the video, but I actually pull some paper back off. I like that I used a dry adhesive on most of the spreads because I really learned more about how to put papers together. And whereas this album is very, very busy in paper, probably in the future you'll see that my albums might be a little bit more simple because I learned that I like that. And whereas I did try to keep consistency across two big spreads, you'll see a lot of the greens play out throughout two spreads. I realize that there's a lot of busyness going on in some of the papers, and I think my taste is that I like it to be a little bit more simple. And so it even after I had the album completely finished, I went back through and I pulled several pages up, but I was stuck with what I had left. So it still didn't go as well as I had hoped. So that was one of the best lessons I learned. And also, something to point out in this album is I left it pretty simple. I purchased also, as part of her gift, two gel pens, a white and a black, so that she can go back and journal. And I did buy lots of embellishments and stickers and three-dimensional stickers that she can add once she places all of her pictures and things. So we're getting to the end. You see I put graduation paper there, and that way. And then there was a large spread to the left you saw that I figured she could add prom pictures and graduation pictures. There's always so much going on at the end of a senior year that I really wanted to give her lots of space for journaling and adding all of those end of the year special pictures. So there you have it. And I found that if you sat the album up, it was easier to put pages together because of those two pages that kind of grab. So it's easier to sit it up and neatly kind of put everything back together. Overall, I think it was a success. I loved it. It was so much fun. I learned so much. It definitely helped satisfy my obsession with paper, and I think she is going to love it. I think it's a very special gift to give someone for graduation. And so it took me about 2 weeks. That's why you haven't seen me for a while, but I'm so thrilled with it. And thank you. I'm so glad that you were here to share this with me.